Thank you. Right on, as we used to say in the 1960s. Right on comes from right on time. In the 1940s, black folks used to say right on time, brother. Right on time. Anyway, I picked it up right in the middle of the 60s. I think Bunchy Carter was killed February 17th, January 17th at Campbell Hall in UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. And he was killed by the fascist move on the part of Richard M. Nixon with J. Edgar Hoover and John Mitchell at the helm of an operation to smash and get rid of the Black Panther Party here in the United States of America. That's what happened. That organization that I created really came about in an inadvertent kind of way, but yet I was inspired in different kinds of ways. And actually, I was a lucky young man because by the time I decided to get involved in civil rights protests in 1962, at that time I was actually employed by a company called Kaiser Aerospace and Electronics out on Doolittle Drive in San Leandro, just outside of Oakland, California. And I was working there in the engineering department, doing electromagnetic field black light non-destruct testing on all engine frames for the Gemini missile program. Kaiser Aerospace Electronics had a NASA contract, and I happened to get that job there in that department. And it was me, a young man. I mean, I took off, came to Reno. One time I came to Reno and won $3,000. I won There was a crew of us, you know, we'd get off work Friday night at midnight, and we already planned it out. And we jumped in one of the guys' new late model cars. We head out to Reno. And I got up here and flew around and, what was it? I took $100 and put it right on that thing it pays 30 to 1. You know, snake eyes, not snake eyes, boxcar. And that thing hit $3,000, 30 to 1. And boom. And so all these 4 or 5 guys who was with me, Bobby, what's happening? They were all broke by now. This was Saturday when I hit. We got up there Friday. This is Saturday when I hit. They all broke. Bobby, what's going on? Hey man, what's happening? I started walking out the door. I said, where you going? I said, you want to come with me? You better come on. And I walked. I'm right ahead. I started trotting a little bit. And they went down the road with Bobby trying to keep up with me. And I got 3 blocks down. I went to the Western Union and I wired $2,000 to me. $2,000 to me. So I came back, I said, all right, all of y'all broke. I said, 50 for you, 50 for you, 50 for you, 50 for you, and 50 for you. I said, now, roll from there, let's roll. Anyway. Next time I was in Reno, I was getting married. I mean, life is something, you know. I had this great job, this fantastic job. And I started reading my African American people's history, you know, in 1962. Spring semester of 1962. I've never forgotten that, you know, it was a thing, you know. I got really off into it, you know. And then a few months later, a man came to town to speak. His name was Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, I didn't go to preachers no more. I got tired as a kid going to the preacher and he's hollering hell and damnation and anything I do was a sin. Looked like if I looked wrong, right, etc. If I looked at a young lady, she said, "Ooh, she looked good." It was a sin. She said it. And my aunt Zelma, she told us we're going straight to hell. You're gonna. Boy, I was talking science stuff. You know, I loved my science when I was a kid, 11, 12 years of age. And I was telling all the other kids, no, it ain't. The earth spin on its own axis at 1,000 miles an hour. And the other kids looked at me, what you talking about, 1,000 miles? That's too fast. I said, you don't understand. The earth is all the way around. And then the earth take a 600 million mile trip around the sun every 365 days. And my Aunt Zelma, she's a twin to my mother. Velma and Zelma, my mother's the passive Christian, she's the aggressive Christian. My Aunt Zelma come in the room, grab my ears, start mauling my head, twist my hair, shut up that old science mess running around here talking that you're going straight to hell. You're going to burn in hell. And that one's going to have that pitchfork and stick it in you. And he's going to pitch your butt over in that fire. That fire's going to be burning you. And then she would act it out. It was like trauma. Us kids. My Aunt Zelma was something else. She actually thought the earth was flat. We happened to be over there on the beach one day, the families and everybody. She came and got me and drug me out there. God! I said, hey, Zelma, I'm telling you, leave me alone. She said, look out there, boy, what you see? I said, the ocean ain't Zelma. What you see, boy, it's flat. You run around here talking about the earth around. Don't you ain't no better since an action? She just didn't know. To this day, I tell students, make sure your ideas, beliefs, and understanding correspond correctly to reality. Because you run around with a mythical notion in your head and some insidious stuff, it doesn't work. It's just that. My point, though, is I got tired of going to see preachers doing that. But I was going to see this one preacher, Dr. Martin Luther King. I was going to hear him. Because he'd been talking about changing things more than hell and damnation. And Dr. King speaking, he got on all these various kinds of countries and different industries that refused to hire people of color all over the United States of America. You're talking 1962. You're talking about discrimination. Oh my God. Institutionalized racism, it was rampant. But that was what he was talking about. And he went after company, you know, the Cresses and the other stores that black folks shop in and other people of color and so on. And then Dr. King, he says, and we're going to get rid of, no, he didn't say get rid of. He says, and we're going to have to boycott some of these bread companies too. He said, the bread companies do not hire people of color. He says, here in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area, you have Kilpatrick's Bread Company, and you have a Langendorf Bread Company. And all across America, you have a Wonder Bread Company. We want to boycott them. We're going to boycott them so consistently and so profoundly, as Martin Luther King said, we're going to boycott them so consistently, so profoundly, we want to make Wonder Bread wonder where the money went. That speech, and when he got to that point in that speech, 7,000 people, every seat taken in the open auditorium. I'm one young student. Boom, hit the floor, obeying, applauding, and I was totally and thoroughly inspired. Next thing I know, I done quit my job. After 3 years, like 3.5 years, I quit my engineering job to work in the grassroots community. And then I'm creating and putting together a North Richmond tutorial program. A youth jobs program is what I was doing. And in that North Richmond community, we, as young students, you know, three young whites and 3 blacks, worked together because we had already been working for another university program doing canvassing in the community. And through that process of us being together working every day, we discussed a lot about the problems of racism and discrimination and institutionalized racism in America. And one of the things we came up with was the educational problem. And then with that, how do we deal with economics, et cetera. So in effect, we created a youth jobs program, and that was all connected with the availability of the War on Poverty Fund that was available at that time. And we wrote our proposals, went in, got matching funds, et cetera, and went to the boards and won and put our program together. We had 100 youth, 36 hours a week in the summer, and that was 16 hours a week in the winter. And to us, to those working class, poor and low income families there, those youth, that little income they had. So we took the 10th grader, could tutor the 1st grader, the 11th grader, 2nd grader, 12th grader, 3rd grader, and all up to junior college level. We said, I mean, this is where we was at. So we were tutoring the youth and paying the youth to do that. We bought the building, you know, the whole caboodle, how you put a nonprofit entity together, et cetera. We took 8 people from the community that we interviewed to make sure that they were rooted and would be indigenous and stay in that community more likely. And our 6 job descriptions, we trained 6 other people plus 2 people to do our jobs and to develop and put together proposals, et cetera, for the continuation of that program. So in 18-month to 2-month program, well, we were gone, but we left that program. The next program I was working on, that actually I was hired by the city government of Oakland, California. Well, the city government, the board, the War on Poverty board there hired. So not only did I run the youth jobs program, I was a community liaison for the North Oakland Neighborhood Service Center. Well, this particular location is in the North Oakland community. I lived in the North Oakland community, 4 blocks from my home. And that is where I hired little Bobby one summer. I ran the summer youth jobs program. Besides the year-round job I had as a community liaison, I ran the youth jobs program. I had 100 youth there. 75 young males and 25 females. You know, with access to all the city government vehicles, what have you, et cetera, the whole caboodle, you know. I mean, I even found that I had 4 young men who were 18 and over, and what I did is that when I could get those dump trucks, I put around and got these guys together so they could take their test for that Class C driver's license so they could drive the big 8-wheeler dump trucks, you know. So my concept, all the time in my early days, the forte of where I was coming from, is I'm going to do everything I can to try to help create and get jobs for these youth in our community, et cetera, and so on. And of course, encourage them that they have to be in college. You have to be in college. Because I was still in college. I mean, actually, my real experience came from the United States Air Force, structural repair, high-performance aircraft, you know. They put me through tech school. I became an honor student in my own tech school class, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And then next thing I know, I'm on Ellsworth Air Force Base in Rapid City, South Dakota. Most people couldn't even understand. Man, you were an honor student, man. Why you choose to go to some joint called South Dakota? You know, these guys wanted to go to New York bases and go to Japan, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I said, no, man, I got to go up there. This is why. I said, because of the Lakota. And they didn't even know what I was talking about. I was like, ooh. I said, man, they're American Indians, man. You see, when I was 15, I identified with Native Americans. I knew no African American history, really, 15. Not in 1951, 52. I didn't know any African Americans. I knew Carter, who dealt with peanuts scientifically, et cetera, and admired it, et cetera, and so on. But my point is, I didn't know the struggle, the history of struggle that it went down, you know. So this is what, for me, I resided there, you know what I mean? I mean, I read so much in that period, Dr. Martin Luther King and others, et cetera. I remember reading a book by Marvel J. Herskovitz. Remember his name, Marvel J. Herskovitz. The title of the work was a very great dissertative piece of work, was Myth of the Negro Past. And this guy destroyed all the mythical misrepresentations about Black American people and their history, et cetera, to slavery, after slavery, et cetera, and so on. And he'd gotten to one point in the book, the guy was talking about Dr. Lorenzo Dow Turner, an African American, PhD in English, what have you, who had developed and did field research for 12 years and wrote a work dealing with surviving Africanisms in Black language. Black language? You know, I said, wow, what is Black language? So I had to go to the University of California to find out where this book was at, because University of California was about 20 blocks from the house. And me, you know, I went up there and I found this book. And they said, you can't check this book out. I can't check this book out. I said, no, you're not matriculated here at the University of California. I said, but I got to have this book. I said, and he says, what you have to do is you have to buy yourself a special library card. Where do you go to college? I said, Merritt College. He says, well, you can buy a card for $35. Pay you $35 and I had this book. Took that work home. I found out that there were no T-H-E-R-A-R rolling R sounds in the Black and West African languages where Black people were extracted from. What is the relevancy of that? See, what we're dealing with here is I'm in a period, not only in all the anthropology courses I took, and some of the anthropology papers I wrote, like proving that there were agricultural sites for black peoples in the Western African periods, you know. In other words, agricultural sites, an agricultural site was a location of people or ethnic people who first cultivated certain plants or food, whatever, etc. And the eugenics, the racist eugenics of England at that time, these are the old white guys who said they were superior to everybody, including the women, because the internal space inside white males' skulls had a bit more space, so they had a bit more space, so they had a bit more brains, so they had put. These are the forerunners of the science of anthropology. And anthropology itself, as an investigative science, proved them to be a bunch of stupid, backward racists. That's very important to understand. So I'm saying that I'm reading this material and finding out about this lack of the T-H-E-R-A-R rolling R sound. And it just that them yo mo and fo. You hear me? Just that them yo mo and fo. There were no T-H-E-R-A-R rolling R sounds in the West African languages where black folks through the period of the slave trade were extracted from. If you go from Senegal to Angola, according to Dr. Lorenzo Dow Turner, and you're going to find that they lack the T-H-E-R-A-R rolling R sounds in their language speaking. On the one hand, eugenics would say, therefore you're inferior. But by their own anthropological measurement, you could say that Europeans would be inferior because they had no tonal change in their languages like most Asian people had. See, so tone change in language in Asian people's languages is very important in terms of their language and how they communicate. There's none of that large in the Caucasian language groups of Europe. So it's not about being inferior, it's just the evolutionary process. You see what I'm getting at? But to me, that made me understand, from an anthropological standpoint, from that linguistic work that Dr. Renzo Turner did, made me understand my own humanism. Homo sapien human beings, more than I'm a black person and this and that. So mine was I evolved education through research, study, and activism and work, you know, that said that, wow, you know, this is a human struggle. It is a constitutional, democratic, civil human rights. This is where I was coming from at that time. And me, you know, as a young man, boom, I was into this. I was doing one program or another. I put up the Black History Fact Group because I lived across the street from Merritt College. And I had these 10, 12, sometimes 14 people meeting at my house. You know, I checked out with that library card, that special $35 library card, University of California. Man, I found out there were 26 libraries up there at the University of California. I could find any goddamn thing in the world. I mean, that was something for me, you know, this great leap that I'm getting, you know what I mean, this world view, etc. Understanding the whole colonialization process of Africa, etc., and so on. This was something else for me, you know. So one day I think I'm in one of those anthropology classes, and I told the instructor, I said, you know, every time you refer to black people, you say Negroid. Every time you refer to American Indians or Asian people, you say Mongoloid. I says, and every time you refer to white people of European descent, I said, you say Caucasian, etc. I says, but I don't care for that term, Negroid. I think we need better, correct social science reference to us black folks. Well, Mr. Seale, the young lady, she was the anthropology instructor, we're not going to say blackoid. I says, well, maybe not. I said, but in my interruption of the class, what happens is I upset some of the other black students in the class. Bobby Seale, every time I turn around, you interrupted this class, man, with that Afro-black talk, man. I'm tired of this stuff, you know what I mean? And another one talking about, man, the word Negro derived from the Spanish language. And if you just sit down and understand that, the word Negro means black, and it's a Spanish term. But I said, brother, we ain't from Spain, man. I'm in the classroom, so I'm really carrying on here in one way or another, 2, 3 different sessions. So I was telling Zoe, we need to get together and try to come up with some of this. And so I got Bertram Morrell, a very good friend of mine, who helped me organize the Black History Fact Group and Soul Students Advisory Council, to come to my class. I got Richard Aoki, my Japanese buddy and friend, who was a good friend of Huey Newton's, but I didn't know how close he was with Huey Newton at that time. It was later that I found out. And I got them to come to class, and I got Huey Newton. You know, I see him around campus, and Huey was always seeming to be articulate, etc., and got him to come to the class. So in one part of that classroom, what happened, we're arguing again, and some sisters in there, Bobby Seale, I'm tired of this mess. You in this class talking about this and Africa that. She says, I ain't got nothing to do with no Africans. I said, sister, you just dropped every T-H-E-R sound. Just got to say it. You cannot say it. Anyway, my friend Huey jumped up in the back room. I'm sitting up in the front class. Huey says, I would like to make a suggestion. Instructor, who are you? My name is Huey Newton. I'm here to support Bobby Seale's argument on the need for correct social science reference for black folks. And he says, I want to make a suggestion. And she said, and that is, Huey said, I suggest Africanoid as opposed to Negroid for correct social science reference. And Huey sit down. And I stood up. I said, that's it. I said, right on, Huey. That's it. The instructor said, Mr. Seale, sit down. I sit down. And she says, now, Africanoid. She wrote it on the board. She underlined the syllable. She says, okay. She says, this is anthropological. Yeah, okay, we can use this. I said, right. I said, oh. And everybody said, oh, right on. Good, now we can stop this mess with Bobby Seale. And so I said, well, wait a minute. I said, we got to equalize the terminology. Some of the students said, oh, no, right? Bobby Seale is still. I said, no, you guys don't understand. You got to equalize the terminology. I said, because, okay, we're going to say black folks, not Negroid, they're Africanoid. And we continue with, I guess, Mongoloid. You know, I says, and when we get to the white folks, you always say Caucasian. I said, if you notice something, over here, all the people of color, we the Noids. I said, over here is the Caucasian, the white people, etc. I says, and I says, that lacks anthropological. And she says, Mr. Seale, what are you trying to say? I said, look, this is what it should be. From now on, Africanoid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid. Anyway, I give you this to let you have some background understanding. And that's just a peeping into what I did and what was going on in those early life days, way before the Black Panther Party ever existed. And these are the kinds of things, you know, that was important to me and helped me understand, helped me have that broad view. Because later on, you know, our slogan in the Black Panther Party became all power to all the people. Whether you're black, white, blue, red, green, yellow, polka dot, in the final analysis, that's what it's about. And how are we going to evolve that political empowerment? So before the party started in 1965, what's happening here is, this black power sloganism thing. And a lot of days they say to this day, black power movement, they call it. You see what I mean? They even lump the Black Panther parties in a sense to say the black power movement, okay? But me, I go a little farther than that, and did go farther than that, in terms of just a quote-unquote black power movement. You see what I mean? Because to me, I was looking at institutionalized racism, looking at where it was coming from, what it was based in, how the laws in the United States of America, the literal laws in the United States of America, were structured. You know, a long time ago, I tried to read Leon Higginbotham a little bit, but it was later in life that I read his book, Shadows of Freedom. Leon Higginbotham was a Third Circuit Court Justice, African-American Third Circuit Court Justice out of Philadelphia. He was a prolific writer. He died back here several years ago. But my point is that he wrote well, and his last book was trying to show and identify for people to understand the evolution of laws in the United States of America, particularly as they were related to race. And these laws themselves, as Leon Higginbotham would point out, law after law after law, various Supreme Court rulings, state level laws, etc., and so on, well, too many laws were made with the precept of white supremacy coupled with the precept of black inferiority in the minds of those practicing white supremacy. And this is what these laws were. So to me, by the time I'm in the 60s and understanding Rosa Parks, you see, I'm in the 60s understanding when it happened 10 years earlier to Rosa Parks, she refused to move to the back of the bus. Okay, we hear about this story, etc. But the key to that for me when I looked at it and understood it, by the time I was running with Huey Newton, was the law, and Huey was 2 years in law school. Well, wait a minute. They had a law, the state legislature of Alabama, Arkansas, wherever it was, had made a law that says all black people had to move to the back of a bus. This is a bus with human transportation in the community. And if a white person wanted to move, come into the back of the bus to get a seat, that black person had to get up and let that white person sit down and have that seat. Now this is one law and 1,001 different kinds of laws. And what I come to understand, that this was the real crux of institutionalized racism here in the United States of America. Sure, there's the mentality of racism, but the laws themselves that support that negative mentality, Ku Klux Klan, racist exploitation activity. And that's where I begin to come from. How do we change the laws? You these guys are around trying to holler, black power this, black power this, black power that. And so I said, well, you guys don't have any power. What do you mean? I said, y'all don't have any power. And meeting after meeting, I was telling you, you don't have any political policies. What are you talking about? I said, well, who makes the laws? I said, a bunch of racists or people who ain't got no sense or people who ain't taking time to look, making laws that perpetuate racism. You got to have some of those political policies. And to them, well, they're running for office saying whatever. Then there was a guy named Cruz who had written a book back east or something that we don't need to participate politically, etc., blah, 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 because we would never receive anything out of it. I disagreed with that. So what I did, was I'm looking around, I'm working with the Department of Human Resources. Same time, and along there, a little bit after that, I'm dealing with my Black History Fact group. But I said, wait a minute, political policies, what are they? Can you be elected to them? Yes, you are elected to them. In fact, yes, you are. I said, now, how many counties are there in California? I said, it's 52 counties. Now, every county elects a board of supervisors, and every county also elects a sheriff. I said, interesting. I said, but down south, there are numerous counties where black people are the majority in those counties, but they don't even have a duly elected black sheriff, assuming that the black sheriff is going to be more progressive, right? Because he's black and he understood. And that was important to me. I said, so, you talk about black power, you have to go after some of the political policies. This is where I was coming from. This is all the stuff that preceded my putting together the Black Panther Party as a political organization. And that's where it was. I looked up and started counting all the counties in all the states across the United States of America and making note of the fact that in every county they elect a board of supervisors, they elect a sheriff. And then every city has some kind of city council, even if it's a part-time, even if it's a quarter-time, small-town city council, they got with 5 members to it and a mayor, you know what I mean? They are duly elected to political office. So let's count up all these political seats that one can be elected to, And boy, when the county jumped past 500,000 political seats, from the local level to the federal level, putting them all together, 500,000 political seats one can be elected to. How many seats were people of color, black or people of color, was duly elected to political office? I got up to 48. Now, it may have been 60. I didn't get them all. But what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters, in the middle of the 1960s when we started, there was less than 50 people of color, duly elected to political office throughout the whole of the United States of America. If we're going to have some black power and also some white, real people's grassroots community control, white community power, I'm talking about progressive people, if we're going to have some red power, brown power, we need some political seats. We have to organize that. And that's where it was coming from. You know, yeah, we put together an organization called the Black Panther Party. We took notes in my house about some of the points, some of the various things I worked on. I mean, I was a community liaison for the Norfolk Neighborhood Service Center, which is the Department of Human Resources at that time. I mean, when you say community liaison, boom, the employment office may have one problem there is that the Longshoremen's Union in the whole San Francisco and Bay Area certainly supplied so many hundreds of jobs for young men to come work 2 days a week. $40 a day. $40 a day back in those days working longshoreman, that's good money. If you work 5 days a week and you're a longshoreman, you had damn good money. But my point is, I was a community liaison for that office. So I have 20, 30, maybe 40 sometimes of those men. I'm out, boom, 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 I'm in the pool halls. I walk in the pool halls and I say, all right, who want to go to work? And they say, Bobby, hey man. The guys who knew me, they running. I said, come on, put your name down here, boom, boom, boom. This is the card, report to Doc so. Make sure you got your ID, you got your thing. Boom, 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 sign this darn thing and blah, blah, blah. Let's go, brother. I'm a community liaison. I'm getting jobs for people. I'm giving them jobs and getting them to the jobs. You know, and they work at night from 12 midnight to a.m. in the morning. And this was done all over the San Francisco Bay Area. But I'm just trying to say, this is the kind of work I was doing. This is the kind of thing. So in my 10-point platform and program, after number 1, they said we wanted power to determine our own destiny, our own community, which was all about electing political officials and unifying people and unifying the political electoral community unity vote. Number 2 said full employment. Number 3 said decent housing. Number 4 said decent education, taught us about our true history. Number 5 said we wanted an immediate end to exploitation and robbery by community. Number 6, we wanted all black men and women to be exempt from any military service to fight the war in Vietnam because this country is not recognizing our constitutional democratic civil human rights. Wait a minute, and we have fought in every war in this country, including the beginning of the colonial war that we fought in. People don't know this. You know, back in those days, in the 60s, I was reading so much material. I ran across Dr. Herbert Apthacker's work. He documented all the wars that black Americans had fought in this country from its very beginning. And one of the points he documented was the German Hessian soldiers that the king had hired from Germany and had them in ships coming over here. Lafayette, a French advisor to George Washington, went up to the New England area and looked at them and told them, he says, oh my God, you're so ragtag, you don't know what the heck's going on, etc. You got to get in fighting shape. And they're going to send those German Hessian soldiers in a few months, and boom. So Lafayette suggested to those guys running the operations there, you need to promise some of these blacks their freedom up here. That's what you need to do. Stop this slavery crap and train them and get them to help you fight. This is what's happening. People don't know that when the German Hessian soldiers arrived, who was significant in kicking the Hessian soldiers' asses when they landed in Rhode Island? Those black slaves who were that big. So I'm going to say, to me, we have fought in every goddamn war. Like other people in other ethnic groups and everything have fought in every goddamn war, certainly in the involvement in this country. Then when I read Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois's work, 168,000 slaves, ex-slaves at the time, immediate recent ex-slaves, have been enlisted to the Northern Union Army. Most people don't read the Emancipation Proclamation that Abraham Lincoln wrote. Remember, the Emancipation Proclamation is not a legislative piece of law. It was an executive order in time of war that Abraham Lincoln did. And when Abraham Lincoln said, and this forever holds free, the very next line says, all able-bodied black men will be taken into the Northern Union Army. Why? Because the Northern Union Army, most people were not going to come up north to fight in the Civil War to end slavery. They just was not going to do it. They could not constrict enough people. But by Abraham Lincoln doing that, he was doing two things. It was a military tactic. That's really largely what the Emancipation Proclamation was. See, it was later that the 13th Amendment came about that ended slavery. You see what I mean? And Abraham Lincoln did push that through and got that through the legislation. Thaddeus Stevens and those guys. But that's important to understand. These changes that happened in that context. Immediately after the war is over, and after the Confederates have gotten their ass kicked, you know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. Abraham Lincoln said, no, what Abe says now, y'all going back home. Do your farming and stuff. You know what I mean? You know, boom, boom, boom. But you had these ex-Confederate soldiers, day one, in Tennessee created the Ku Klux Klan. And it evolved over into Arkansas too. In the first year following the end of the Civil War, that Ku Klux Klan group indiscriminately killed and murdered more than 1,300 blacks, including many women and children, running around shooting and killing. And it evolved also over in Arkansas, and this got into 2 years of this. But this was the Reconstruction period following the Civil War. And they had to send troops in to kick the ass of all those Ku Klux Klans. They'd kill over 3,500 in Arkansas, black folks, indiscriminately. You know, because to this very day, you know, people, you got some little guys in these little so-called new Black Panthers. You heard about new Black Panthers? You heard them guys? They were on television a year after 9/11 supporting the Al-Qaeda. The Al-Qaeda. I mean, day one when I heard about the Al-Qaeda, so what they was doing, these are a bunch of international Ku Klux Klans indiscriminately running around the world, killing folks because they think they got some issue going on. And my point is, hey, I had a college speaking engagement 2 weeks after 9/11, right there at Harvard University, right there in Pennsylvania. And I walked in there denouncing the Al-Qaeda, etc. Then I was speaking at another college, and some brother got up in the audience, I don't know why you want to call and say that the Al-Qaeda is like the Ku Klux Klan. Some of them is blacker than you. I said, brother, what are you talking about? I said, how old are you? I'm just the same age you is. I said, brother, please, let's take a page out of Dr. Martin Luther King. Brother said, we judge you by the content of your character. And if running around and killing and murdering people indiscriminately, we judge you, that's what you are, you're an indiscriminate killer. I said, that's what they are. And I don't give a damn whether they're black, white, blue, red, green, yellow, polka dot, Timothy McVeigh blowing up the Oklahoma building, et cetera, et cetera. These are a bunch of low-life, scurvy-ass, Ku Klux. Yeah, we got problems. We scurvy, and boom. So when my son went over there to fight him, I did not object. My son fought in Iraq, and I did object to that war, you know, because I criticized Nixon for creating that damn war. But I supported my son, one of the black troops, and all the damn troops. I supported them, you know, because they're there because we asked them to be. And they sacrificed. And my son came and fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. He came back wounded from Afghanistan. So he's one of the wounded soldiers, a wounded warrior. But he wasn't wounded so bad that they couldn't heal him. After Fort Lewis up there outside of Tacoma, Washington, a medical army facility up there, they got him together. 8 months, boom, boom, boom. He's still in the Army Reserve, even though he's home now driving a cab, etc. He come over the other day to my birthday party last October. He said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to take up another mission." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I'm going to take up another military mission." He says, "I'm signing up for it." I said, "Come on, man, you've been out telling what you kill out there, blah, 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 blah." I said, "I gotta go, man." I said, "Where's this mission?" "It's going to be a peace mission in Africa." I said, "You fighting Al-Qaeda. You know that in Mali. You know they took all these people prisoners over there." See, so people understand that. And people are like, "You don't support that?" I said, "Man, hell with the damn Al-Qaeda. Who the hell they are?" The so-called new Black Panthers is on television, what, 1 year after 9/11, and in a 3-year period, Fox News put them on their Fox News. Yes, they did, brother. They support the Al-Qaeda, etc. and so on. Crazy crap. Then they call themselves the new Black Panthers. They hate all white folks. I didn't hate no white folks. I wouldn't even burn the interview to hate a person just because of the color of their skin. In my book, Seeds of Time, page 69, I say we will never, ever stoop to the low scurvy level, the low scurvy to hate or despise a person just because of the color of their skin or their ethnic or religious difference. We're not doing that. We won't do that. That is not what the Black Panther Party is about. In fact, the Black Panther Party is about all power to all the people. That's where we're coming from. And yes, we went out there to patrol police with guns. And yes, that made it controversial. And yes, people tried to say, and mostly counterintelligence program of the FBI attempted to say, you know, they send out counterintelligence information out. What is the counterintelligence information? They would send out press releases. The counterintelligence program of the FBI sent out press releases at least once a month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month. They not only send the press releases to the press, they send the same exact press release to all the politicians. And they would literally propagate through those press releases. The Black Panthers hate all white folks. The only reason Black Panthers have guns is to come into the white community and shoot and kill white people. So the next thing you know, Mayor Daley of Chicago in 1968 is on national television. The only reason the Black Panthers have guns is to come into the white community and shoot and kill white people. We're running up and down the streets. I'm talking about we protesting together with all our thousands of white left radical brothers, all our thousands Chicano, Mexican American, whoever, whatever. I mean, this is just a bold-faced lie. They can care less. It's like the Tea Party and other people just say bold-faced, dumb, crappy crap about President Barack Obama. And it's just bold-faced, blind crap. You see what I'm getting at? So, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, my organization, this film, I'm making a movie. And my company, Recent Entertainment, even my speech right here is copyrighted. I don't give a damn who think they're recording. It's copyrighted. You cannot go out here and try to make a movie off of my speech at all. You know, a lot of that goes through me. Instead of doing that, because I'm tired. People have distorted, lied, everything about me and the Black Panther Party, what we were about. You know? Even the fact that we patrol the police. When we trained all them brothers, you know, the few people I had when we began the Black Panther Party, who were a ragtag little organization, we finally were able to train and put together some 14 people, 14 of them. One sister, Geraldine. That other sister, Malala, she didn't stay around because she was busy doing something else, but she was a party member. But in the Black Panther Party, you didn't have to carry a gun. Nobody was required to carry a gun. And if you didn't want to deal with that, that's fine. You know, my wife, Artie, at that time, and Huey Newton's girlfriend, they didn't even come to our meetings. Mom, we not coming down there with y'all with all them guns and crap. That's what they were saying. They even had a negative thing about us. I said, we're talking about patrolling the police, and this is going to be a tactic so we can capture the imagination of the people. And by capturing the imagination of the people, we can better organize a political electoral machine in the community to register all the people to vote, so we can vote out the racist politicians and vote in some progressive politicians. I don't care. Y'all got them guns out. Anyway, but we were very good. You know, we trained. I had myself, I was former military. Richard Ioki, he's Japanese, he was with us in those early days. And Big Man Albert Howard. Big Man Albert Howard was very prominent and Deputy Minister of Information in the Black Panther Party. He's a good writer too, etc. We were ex-military, so we trained the party members, you know, how to use the weapons, etc., what weapons were about, how to break down weapons. Huey, being in law school, made a great contribution because he was the one that designed the whole concept of patrolling and observing the police as a tactic, you know? And I'm monitoring and making sure that everything Huey does, we're not there breaking the law. Even though they may arrest us and charge us, we're not there breaking the law. What happens is we're very, very legal. And that's what we did. We knew all the gun laws, every gun law in the state of California. And any laws connected with any federal rulings about the right to bear arms, etc. We knew all of this stuff. We studied it, we researched it. We knew that you could not ride in the car with a live round in the chamber of a rifle or a shotgun, the long guns. You could not have a live round in the chamber of a rifle or a shotgun while riding in a car. We knew that it did not, in law, that it did not apply to the handguns. You could have a live round in the chamber where it could be fired. We knew that if you pointed a weapon, you know, say you ended the break, you had no intention of shooting, and you got a live round in the chamber of a rifle and or a handgun, and if you pointed that gun at somebody, under California law, it constituted assault with a deadly weapon. I'm talking about casually pointing with no intention of shooting. That's still, they say, under the law. So we knew every damn law there was about the guns before we even went out there. And of course, we knew about the California State Supreme Court ruling that said we had a right to do this. We had a right to stand and observe police officers. So that night we got out of the cars and walked down the street or block with our guns, and our little uniforms, and our little berets. Most of us couldn't have a leather jacket, so we had bush jackets. I remember Geraldine, the sister, was with us. She called up, she says, I ain't got no leather jacket. I said, look here, come over here. I'll give you some money. You go downtown and buy you one of them khaki black bush jackets. And I want all of you, because I told all of them, I said, we're going to do this patrol come Friday night. I told them Wednesday night, and I said, now Friday night we're going to do this patrol. And I want all of y'all to take a bath and go out. Little Bobby Hood said, Chairman, now what the heck, we got to take a bath and we got to go out here and patrol some old funky racist cops, man. I says, the reason is, brother, we're trying to organize the people in the community. We got to organize this, yes. I said, we are not blippies. What the hell is a blippy? I said, a black hippie that won't take no bath. So I'm trying to tell you, I want you sharp, I want you to put crease in your pants, irons, etc., etc. And you got your guns and stuff, and you be there, and you know how not to point your weapons and how to hold your weapons, etc., and so on, etc. And we get out the car, we walk down, we're in the red light district on 7th Street in Oakland, California, and we walk past Slim Jenkins and on down. I remember some sister, she was really dressed kind of nice, you know, and she had a drink in her hand, and as we walked by with our little blue shirts and our berets, our leather jackets and bush jackets, etc., she says, well, I say, you fellas, and you, young lady, you look quite spiffy there. She says, yes. And as we got to the corner there, the cop didn't even see us coming up. We walked up, we got up, 25, 30 people started gathering. People coming out of the convenience liquor store, another place, etc., and so on. And they're standing behind us, and I got everybody to stand off the curb. The cop's car is sort of out in the street a bit. And he's sitting inside the passenger side with the door open. His arrestee was standing at the back on the trunk with his hands on the trunk. And the cop is there and he's talking on the radio and writing something. We walk up, and as we walk up, an old man comes out of one of the liquor stores or one of the little grocery store or something. And he said, what they standing out there for? It's dark, they can't have to see, it's nighttime. What they got in their hands out there? And so the tall guy, he says, Jimmy, leave them alone. He said, them are guns. He said, guns. He said, I'm getting out of here, which alerted the cop. When the cop looked around, Huey had turned around when you didn't see the cop look around. And Huey says, no one leave, everyone stay right here. We've researched the law. Everyone, we have a right to stand and observe these police that's been brutalizing our people in our community. And as Huey turned around, the cop is standing there, 10 or 12 feet back. You have no right to observe me! And Huey knew a shining moment. Because I had been working on Huey to get him to do things right, you know what I mean? But Huey Newton says, no, California State Supreme Court ruling states that every citizen has the right to stand and observe a police officer carrying out their duty as long as they stand a reasonable distance away. A reasonable distance that particular ruling is constituted is 8 to 10 feet. I'm standing approximately 20 feet from you and will observe you whether you like it or not. And that old sister sitting in the back, she said, well, go ahead on and tell it. The cop says, is that gun loaded? You said, if I know it's loaded, that's good enough. Well, I have a right. You said, step back, you have no right whatsoever. And boom up, and you went off and cited something, United States Supreme Court, somebody versus so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, you cannot remove my property from me without due process of law. Step back, you cannot touch my weapon. And the tall brother who told the old man to be cool, he said, man, what kind of Negroes is he? You have to understand this. A very disciplined group. Huey had warned and told everybody, when we get out there, in the PE classes, he says, when we get out there, only one person talk. The cop says something. And he says, why? He says, because if they say we're under arrest, we will take the arrest. He says, and I want 14, he said, there's 14 of us, 15 of us. He says, I want everybody, when we get on the witness stand, to be able to testify to the same exact thing. We ain't gonna have 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 people talking, I said this and who said that and the hell with you pig. And we ain't gonna have all that. So that's the discipline we have. I call it being quite civil, although they tried to call us savages and say we were not civilized because we were patrolling and observing police because we had a rampant problem of vicious police brutality, viciously rampant in our community. It was something else. And in communities all across America. And that cop says, well, is that gun loaded? He says, he jacked around off in the chamber. When he jacked around off in the chamber, the cop stopped and looked, and the other 6 guys who had long guns, bolt action, lever action, whatever, etc., rifles, etc., right there, jacking rounds off in the long guns. Didn't have to jack them off in the handguns that everybody had strapped to their side. As long as the weapon was not concealed, it was not illegal. You see how we got away with that? All the points of law we had covered. And when you told the cop, I'm standing approximately 20 feet from you and you'll observe me back around, based on that Supreme Court ruling. Cop got his arrestee, boom, 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 put him in the car. Then he stopped and he looked. It was Geraldine. She had this beautiful beret. She had this afro all sticking out, all comb needed stuff. And she had these pretty long earrings that were glittering. And the cop, as he stopped, he had to look to make sure one of them was a woman. And he got in the car and drove off. Some kids that went around the corner to get some other kids. They come running around the corner. See, I told you, look at that. They the new black police. They ran the other police away. That's what the kids are saying, you know what I mean? But me, I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, people, human beings alike, our organization, we are a new Black Panther Party here in our community. We're here to organize the people, and we're going to unify all our votes in this community, and we're going to elect some people who will change the laws and change all the racist laws in the community. Political education sessions tomorrow at 5624 Grove Street, the office that I put up. I took my resources and did that. And I says, you can be there tomorrow. If you get in the Black Panther Party, you do not have to carry a gun, what have you, etc. This is what started the Black Panther Party. We went there to capture the imagination of the people. But we come to find we capture the imagination of all the hardcore racists. What? They got guns. They're watching us. They're telling us the law. Yeah, we're telling you the law. In other words, we have an equalizer. So we can say, have a safe peace. The organizational group that started patrolling police a year before we did was down in Los Angeles, 400 miles south of Oakland, where I live. And that organization group was called CAP. They had no guns with them. They had law books, they had tape recorders, they had walkie-talkies. And they began to patrol the police following the Watts riots. The Watts riots happened in August of 1965. We started the Black Panther Party in October 1966. You see the difference there? What happens here is that group in Los Angeles a year earlier, after they rolled around about a month, standing around and watching police because they didn't want to see another vicious act of police brutality, which is what caused and sparked the Watts riot in Los Angeles at the time. And with that, they arrested those people down there, that group called CAP, Community Alert Patrol. Took their law books and tore them up, their walkie-talkies and tape recorders and smashed them up, beat them in and beat their heads and drug them downtown and locked them up. Huey is in law school at that time in 1965. He focuses on that with his law professor and other people and trying to figure out where is the constitutional rights of the people, etc., manifested. And that's how we, a year later, decided to move on point number 7 of our 10-point platform and program. That 10-point platform and program said we wanted immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people in our black community at that time. You know, and the other points after that was we want all black men and women, black men and black women who've been tried by all white jurors to have a right to another trial, so that some people from the black community, representing the average reasoning person in the black community, can be on some of these juries so the person can really get a fair trial. That was one of our issues, another point. Number 9, we summed it up. We said we wanted land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. No, that was number 10. And the supplement we added to that a year later was a United Nations supervised plebiscite. But when we finished that 10-point platform and program that night in that War on Poverty office, we put the first 2 paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America at the tail end of our 10-point platform and program. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for any one people to dissolve the political bondage which have connected us with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station in which the laws of nature, nature's God, entitle us a decent respect to the opinions of humankind, dictate that they should declare the causes which impel them to that separation. Now, if John Wayne did that, maybe you'd really pay attention, because nobody was paying attention. John Wayne, yeah, he'd come out riding a car for him and he matched, you know, that's John Wayne. And Martin Luther King would have said, Martin Luther King would say, when in the cause of human events becomes necessary. You know, I'm just saying we could go on and on and on and on. That's what we put at the tail end of our 10-point platform and program. When a long train of abuses and usurpations pursues and invariably evinces a design to reduce a people under absolute despotism, then it is the right of the people to alter, change that government, and provide new guards for their future security and happiness. I just came from the new National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, Tennessee. The museum is the Lorraine Motel. It was a sizable motel, it's big. And they probably added some other sections to it. But that very front is still there. It was the balcony where Dr. Martin Luther King was shot, murdered, and assassinated. And even across the way, the building structure where the assassinator of Dr. King hid out and shot from, that's all part of the museum. You have to go there and see that. The museum is something. And it starts with struggle and slavery. And you walk away around, and you come all around, and you go through all these civil rights things connected with Dr. Martin Luther King and other civil rights activities beyond Dr. King, etc. One of the buses that was Freedom Riders that was burned up and beat up by Ku Klux Klanists. We go through all of that. And then you get to a point there where they start and they do what they call the Black Power movement and the Black Panther Party, etc. And Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, Bobby Seale, etc. So Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Oakland, California, will tell you that when I was organizing the Black Panther Party, she was a young woman raising 2 boys, a single mother raising 2 boys, going to Mills College. And we were all, my Black Panther Party in 1968, in that primary election period, supporting Shirley Chisholm for President of the United States of America. This is part of our activity. I mean, not only were we going to unify the people and get people elected in a local political office, that was the call of the day. You know, people of color, other people with different ideas. It's not just because you're black. Really, we want people who got good human sense. You know what I mean? Because you got Clarence Thomas up there. You see, it's more about about being a human being and understanding the Constitution, democratic, civil, human rights of people. But my point is, that's what we were about. Barbara Lee would tell you, no, Bobby Seale was the first one to put me and 20 other people in the field in some precinct who were registering people to vote, and I put them out there. I made them voter registrars. I mean, this is what it was about. The organizing the Black Panther Party was something, you know. That first year, we never had no more than 50 people in the Black Panther Party. 50! Imagine that. We didn't even have one shootout. Yeah, we had some standoffs, we had some close call situations, you know what I mean? Like Bash 206, you read my book, Seize the Time. Bash 206, get out of that car with them goddamn, now who do you niggas think you are? Goddamn it, he'd stop. Like, you know, this racist is ordering these what, and you're not getting out of the car with them. Get out of that goddamn car. This guy is 3 or 4 feet behind the back of the car. Little Bobby is in the back with his M1 carbine. I'm holding the barrel of Huey's shotgun because it's stem. Huey is driving my old car. I have my Army 45, I'm in the right passenger front seat. And I said, Huey, this goddamn cop is gonna make us shoot him, man. And Huey cracked the window, you know. Huey would crack the window like 2-3 inches. And I said, man, why you do that? It's not necessary. What if the cop came up and decided he's gonna just pull his gun out and shoot me? At least the cracked window would help shield me and may deflect the bullets. So I said, he says, anyway, if they want to get into court and say you only cracked the window, then I would like to argue that in the courtroom that I have every right to crack the window. And I, you know, even when the cops started, he flashed his light, and I said, Huey, you can stop now. He's flashing his light. He says, no, I can be colorblind, so I'm going to make the siren on. So Huey kept going very slow, and then he put the siren, Huey stopped. Cop stopped 2 or 3 cars back. The cop gets out, get out of that car with him down. Who do you niggas think you are, mama? And then he stops, you know, and then he walks up to the side of the car. Huey has stuck his license through the crack of the window. He slaps the license out of Huey's hand, grabs the door, snatches the door open, and reaches in, and with his head in there, all the way across Huey to grab the barrel of the shotgun. I'm holding Huey's shotgun. I'm over here in the passenger side. I'm pulling back. I got my hand here, but I can't. Little Bobby Hutton comes up from the rear with the butt of the M1 carbine, and boom, hits the police officer in the head. Blam! And when he hits him in the head, well, that's, you know, you get hit with the butt in of a rifle. That's pretty tough, right? Boom, boom. And Huey is hitting too. And finally, he gets him out of the car. Huey pushes him out with his foot, grabs his shotgun. I come out the front door. Little Bobby go out the back door and come around. And the cop is there. And when he looks up, we got him surrounded. I'm over here with the Army 45 in the air, etc. And he wants to go for his gun. I said, Huey said, if you go for your gun, he said, I'll blow your brains out where you stand. And little kids on the steps, they had seen this whole stuff. Ooh, they're going to shoot the police. And the mother jumped out there and said, don't y'all shoot the police. I said, we ain't going to shoot him, man, as long as he don't draw his gun on us. You see, now we could run out and just shot him up and kill him. But that was not what we were about. Just want to kill somebody. Revolution is not about a need for violence. Revolution is about a need to re-evolve on political, social justice, empowerment back into the hands of people. That's what revolution is about. It is not about
not about that kind of violence. Anyway, the cop is standing there, boom, 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 boom. I said, if you want to, first, I'm the comedian. I said, you bring your ass up here from Tallahassee, you wouldn't come from 10 miles north of Mule Creek Junction, think you're going to brutalize us? I said, you get your ass killed out here messing around with us. And the old lady said, y'all don't shoot him. I said, I'm not going to shoot him, man. Go to your car, man, if you want to. At the time, there was a task force that had been organized by the federal government to try to ensure that there would be no more riots in the communities, because the Watts riot was a year earlier, remember, August 1965. What we're talking about is the period of 1967 at this time. That task force had been organized many months before that period. So when he got to his car, that fast fuel station, and he got on the phone, got on the radio, and got all the cops to come down, what in effect happened is the local DA working with that federal task force, you see them get, was there telling Badge 206 the guns are legal. They're not illegal. You see, and people got to understand that. When we were arrested, when I took the arrest at the California State Legislature, when I led that armed delegation inside the California State Legislature, etc., we were never arrested for the guns. We were charged, we were charged with disturbing the peace of the California State Legislature. It's a misdemeanor. You serve 6 months in jail for it, which I did. They put me in jail for 6 months. Because we got accidentally led into that assembly. I mean, really, I have 50, 60 people there in the press. I'm there. I'm walking down the halls. Cameras was backing up, radio crew with their microphones, Bobby this, Bobby that. And I says, where is the spectator section? All I want is the spectator section in the California State Assembly so we can sit and watch Mulford trying to make law against us who are patrolling the police in the community. We have every constitutional right to do so. Where is the assembly? So the press is saying, this way, Bobby, this way. So I followed. Several of the party members get ahead of me. And then I come around the corner and I says, where is the assembly at? Where I can sit? Say, this way, Bobby, this way. When I walk down there, I look in there, I said, wait a minute, this ain't the goddamn spectator section. I step in, 6 party members ahead of me. They got their rifles resting on their shoulders. They walk all the way down. The president pro temp, that just bangs the gavel in the state assembly, he doesn't even realize that I have 5 party members ahead of me with guns resting on their shoulders. All he sees is the cameras. Several television station cameras are all over the place, coming through other doors, etc. And the president protested that the press is not, is not allowed on the assembly floor while the assembly is in session. The press is not allowed. This is what he's banging. I'm going in and I said, hey, you guys, come on, man, we're in the wrong damn place. Come on. Two of the young white assemblymen have ducked under their dust. Actually, you get some guys shock you with some guns in here. Boom. And I said, hey, man, we're sorry, man. They let me wrong. I said, oh, you got to sit down. I apologize to them. So people try to say we were savage. Ronald Reagan, the governor of California, said we were hooligans, said we were thugs. And I've always resented that. I said, man, what you talking about? I worked at Gemini Missile Program. I'm no goddamn thug. I got the Declaration of Independence here at the bottom of my program. What a thug you know is running around here citing the Declaration. So that was her. Dr. King was killed, murdered. Before that, I set a coalition with Dr. King. We already had a coalition with Peace and Freedom Party, Air Draft Movements, SDS, and some others. And this is what we did. I made that coalition. They called me, Dr. Reverend Ralph Abernathy, with SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, called me. He said, Bobby Seale? He says, yes. He says, well, I'm going to talk to the Bobby Seale. I said, yes, sir, it's me. Who is this? He said, this is Dr. Reverend Ralph Abernathy. I said, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. Because I'm very respectful. I love Dr. King. And he says, Dr. King has me call you. He says, and he wants to know 2 things. One, would you, Black Panther Party, be willing to work and help us organize people, in Oakland or wherever your organizational chapters and branches are, to organize people for Dr. King's Poor People's March. I says, yes, definitely, we will definitely work with you, no two words about it. He says, and also, he says, we're contacting more than 100 different organizations all across America, in cities and places all across, to help do this. But with those organizations, we want to create a round table, a representative round table, where we can sit and work, break up into committees and groups, identify all the economic problems and economic rights of the people, of all people of color in the United States of America. This is the kind of stuff. Would you, the Black Panther Party guy, says yes, automatically, no two words about it. No two words about it. So this is before Dr. King was killed. 6 weeks before Dr. King was killed. Think about that. I've thought about that over the years with the counterintelligence program of the FBI, etc. The killing and the murder of Dr. King. He had just come out against the war in Vietnam. You know what I mean? Dr. King had at that time, you know. Very, very important. Now here he was organizing all the organizations, including me, us, and the Black Panther Party. And we were, at that time, what did I have? Up and down the West Coast, when I forged that coalition with Dr. King, SCLC, I had 400 members, mainly up and down the West Coast. And there's a couple of people across the country that tried to kick up. But that was important. They killed and murdered Dr. King. April 4th, 1968. What happened here, brothers and sisters? April 4th to May 15th, late May, the people started coming into my organization, especially after exams and so on. Boom. Next thing I know, Fred Hampton and Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush is now a United States Congressman, you know. They come out to fly out to Oakland, California to start a chapter in Chicago. Brothers come from Philadelphia, they come from New York, they come from all over the place. And from April 4th to the time Nixon is elected, my organization swelled from 400 members up and down the West Coast to 5,000 members in 49 chapters and branches in cities across the United States of America. And I went to every chapter. It was not about the gun. It's about these programs I'm starting. The free breakfast program. If you're going to work with the Black Panther Party, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up a free breakfast for children program, or you're going to set up a free sickle cell anemia testing program, and you will work on a free preventative medical health care clinic in your African American poor and low-income people's community. And this is what you have to do. And of course, we had coalitions going on. The young lawyers, young Puerto Ricans in Chicago, Fred Hampton got them and put them together. They were a street gang, gangbangers. Helped turn them brothers around. They got to read and study and set up. They set up their programs and made their 10-point platform program. Same thing for the Brown Berets, young Chicano Mexican American brothers and sisters. Same thing for the Asian brothers and sisters throughout the San Francisco Conveyor we knew, and the Iwakun in New York, the young Chinese. See, this is what was happening. And we're talking about human and people's solidarity, working together, crossing all racial lines and ethnic lines. This is what it was. Young white left radicals, all their progressiveness, we embraced it. You know, this is what was happening. And that was the power structure. The power structure trying to have blacks and whites fighting each other. You see what I'm getting at? See, they didn't want that. See, Nixon was elected November 1968. A week after that, he had a meeting with J. Edgar Hoover. The first week of December, J. Edgar Hoover is on the national news. J. Edgar Hoover is saying, the Black Panther Party is a threat to the internal security of America. The Black Panther Party hates all white people. The only reason the Black Panthers have guns is to come into the white community and shoot and kill white people. This is what they're propagating. We run up down the street with all our white left radical brothers. This is not about shooting and killing white people. See, so they want to propagate that. They want to stereotype us. You see what I mean? And play that game. But we were able to counter that. You know, in that period of time, I think that was a couple of hundred or more, what we call underground newspapers, weekly periodicals that came out on one level or another, criticizing everything from the war in Vietnam to talking about the need for civil rights and civil and social change and social activism, etc. The movement was powerful. Thousands and thousands and thousands, multi-thousands, on one level or another, in one program, on one protest level or another, as a group. And in 1968 was a powerful year, and it was a vicious year. They killed and murdered Dr. King. They killed and murdered Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy didn't come out against the war. Bobby Kennedy came to West Oakland. I never forgot it. In that primary, he came to West Oakland, to speak. And I went down there with me and 9 and 10 Panthers. And he was there shaking hands on the platform. I said, I think we're going to support you too. You know what I mean? We support Shirley Chisholm, but we're going to support you too. You know what I mean? Because it was something there, you know what I mean, that was going on. I think when Bobby Kennedy went out in the primaries, but they murdered him. There I was at another point at the Hemispheric Conference up in Toronto, Canada. At the Hemispheric. And there was all the left radicals and everybody at the Hemispheric Conference arguing and debating. The Minister of Culture from North Vietnam was there. The Minister of Culture from Cuba was there, etc. And they was the one that pulled me into it. I went there because they called up and says, we needed you here. Some people called up and said, Bobby, we need you here to try to unify all these people. And that's what I did. When I balled them out. I said, we dying in the streets. You guys are sitting up here trying to articulate and masturbate all your intellectual crap, you know what I mean? And we dying in the streets, man. We getting shot at and killed and murdered. And so I pulled them together, But my point is, a lot of things were happening in 1968, And then the Democratic Convention happened. And they beat and brutalized all those people, peaceful protesters. Viciously beat and brutalized those people over and over and over. They invited me out to speak, and all I can tell them is you got a right to defend yourself. I said, power is the ability to define phenomena, then in turn make it act in a desired manner. That was one of our old polemic principles that we had propagated from the time we first started the Black Panther Party. Power is the ability to define phenomena, then in turn make it act in a desired manner. See, they were hollering black power this, black power this. We said, let's set the word black over here. Let's just deal with a functional definition of power. A synopsized functional definition of power. So Huey and I came up with this. Power is the ability to define phenomena, then in turn make it act in a desired manner. Now Huey, he liked this stuff. He liked the academic stuff. He liked the precise stuff. You know what I mean? For me, it had to be applicable. I got to see how I can apply it in some kind of way. And so I said, Huey, that's it. It's good that you came up with this. I said, but boom. He says, well, I said, you got to make the brother and the sister on the block understand what this means. Power is the ability to define phenomena. I'll tell you what the power is ability. He said, well, how would you do it? I said, I'm going to tell the brothers, look, the phenomena of the races in the city council sitting up here making legislation or laws that oppress us. We can identify them and who they are. We need to unify all the votes in the damn community, all the white left radical votes, all the liberal votes, all the other people's votes, and we would identify who they are now and vote their ass out, therefore making their ass act in a desired manner. So my point is, this is the kind of contextual understanding you gotta have when you organize. So me is programs. Programs and voter registration programs. What is it? I love programs. Programs speak a lot. They say things. One time we gave away 10,000 full bags of groceries with a fat, healthy 3.5, 4-pound chicken in every bag. In the little cellophane wrappers, you know what I mean? The 1,400 cubic inch bags, you know, that's the 800 cubic inch bag. We had the 1,400 cubic inch bag. And me, I'm an organizer. I love to organize. I love math. I do geographics, what have you, etc. I can apply the quadratic formula, the probability theory, what have you, etc. No, I'm not into quantum. I understand quantum mechanics and all this stuff, and all great possibilities, etc. Blah, 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 blah. But up to that point, that's how far I had gotten. Boom.
Well, we're going to give away 10,000 full bags of groceries with a fat, healthy 3.5-pound chicken. Every bag. I had a press conference at St. Augustine's Church, the same church where we started our free breakfast for children program years earlier. And I have 2 chickens in my hand. I had all the press there, about 10 cameras there, radio people, etc. I said, brothers and sisters, this is it. 10,000 full bags of groceries. We will register people to vote at the open auditorium, and we're going to give away 10,000 full bags of groceries. And I had samples of the grocery bags, etc. Boom, 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 boom. So it's all over the news, etc. Man, I got radio time, all kind of stuff, leaflets, you name it, blah, 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 blah. But putting that together with your own party members. So I had all the coordinators. I want y'all to meet. We get up at the house. Boom, 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 boom. All right, what are we going to do? How many cubic inches in that 16-ounce tin? What? 15, 16-ounce tins, how many cubic inches? William Roberts, you got a slide rule over there. We didn't even have computers. One thing we had was a slide rule. That's right, I'm trying to tell you. Come. I want 2 cans of peas, 2 cans of this, 2 cans of that, 8 cans of vegetables at the bottom of this bag. And I want to know how many cubic inches they got, because this is a 1,400 cubic inch bag. We got to fill this bag up. You know what these wheat? I said, all right, what? Somebody said, puff wheat. I said, good and wholesome, covers a lot of cubic inches. Get them in there. How about 10,000 bags of cubic inches? You going to be in charge of that? You in charge of that? Boom, 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 boom. I said, now, potatoes, okay, potatoes, yeah, potatoes. All right, we have 4 pounds of potatoes, 3 pounds of potatoes, 5 pounds of potatoes, whatever. You guys get out here and find out where we get 40, 50, 60,000 pounds of potatoes. They have to be bagged and stuff. You know, I said, do this, and get the canned goods, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Next meeting, Chairman, man, I've been all over the place, man. We can't get no damn potatoes, man. Anybody got no 10,000, 50,000 pounds of potatoes? We can't do it, man. We're going to have to call this off. I said, what the hell are you talking about? I said, there's potatoes in the world, brother. Brother, come on. Well, what we gonna get? I said, have you ever heard of Idaho? Idaho. I said, go there and see Sister Gwen. She's in charge of the treasury. Get the money you need. Rent a car, rent a truck, rent a van, whatever you do. I said, in 2, 3, 4, 5 of you go together, because you go into Idaho, there's a bunch of racists up there. Now, don't go up there brandishing your weapons. But keep your weapons handy, keep them in the trunk, whatever. Because again, I said, our policy, we will defend ourselves. We're not attacking nobody, but we'll defend ourselves. But get your ass up there and get the money and get some goddamn potatoes here. I don't want to do that. Another brother came in there next week, Chairman. We can't get no puff wheat. I went out there to the co-op plant out there. You know, that thing is 4 square blocks big, man. And the man said he ain't never got no 10,000 things of puff wheat there. I said, call up the man. What? I said, call him up. I said, you have his phone number? I said, yeah, call him up. Boom, boom, boom. Call him up. I said, get him on the phone. I said, is he on the phone? I said, yeah. I said, ask him, where did he get his puff wheat from? He says, Chairman, he said, that you Quaker puff wheat come here out in Stockton. I said, well, get your butt out to Stockton. Get some puff wheat in here. My point is, brother, in the chickens, we had to get those chickens on a special day at 32 degrees, freezer trucks that kept at 32 degrees. You see them get here right at before real freezing. And boom, now we're going to do this at the open auditorium. So we got radio time. We got leaflets, our Black Panther Party newspaper, all the other underground newspapers throughout the San Francisco area is carrying our message. 10,000 full bags of groceries. You know, we got the Chicano community in, we got all the people in, some of the other working class white people in, but predominantly people of color all packed into this auditorium, 7,000 people strong. There's a little, probably about 8,007. You can't show these people those groceries just like that. So we had entertainment. Had the Sisters Love, Santana. Oh yes. Oh, those guys, Santana, a lot of people used to do a lot of benefits for the Black Panther Party. Yes, you know, big things, you know. And then we had a John Lee Hooker for the third act. I don't want you to be no fool. Them big speakers there just flooded that thing.
while John Lee Hooker is on. Well, first of all, let me show you something. That Oakland Auditorium had a wide stage, 90, almost 100 feet wide, okay? The second main curtain that would fall straight down, behind there was 40 feet. I told him, I said, I want tables. I want 5 8-foot long tables, and every two, I'm going to separate by 1 foot, and then 2 more tables. I want you to calculate the surface space on top of all the tables, based on the surface space under the bottom of one bag of groceries. I said, you calculate it all the way across and make it twice wide. The surface space below the tables and on top of the tables. They got 6,000 plus bags on that stage behind the second main curtain. I said, now those big empty rooms out there in the main court, go in there and do the same thing with double-spaced tables, etc., and put the rest of those 4,000 in there. And shut them doors and don't let nobody get in there. Now, when the people came through all the entrance doors, there's about 8 or 9 of them, all the way around of the Oakland Auditorium. On each side, we have people with doctors and medical supervision, so people can have sickle cell anemia tests taken right then and there. My voter registrars are all up and down the street, people coming in, registering people to vote, because it's advertised. You register to vote, 10,000 full bags of groceries, and also pick up your sickle cell anemia test when you come down there, etc., so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. This is called organizing. You get ready to organize in our feet. How do you organize those votes in the community and get them in there, get them registered, etc.? This is what this was about. You know? So, with all this entertainment and stuff like that, behind the scene there, we get to a point where all the people who are doing the sickle cell anemia testing, everybody's in now, are now called to the back. All the voter registrars, all our white left radical brothers and sisters and people who work with us, the hundreds of them, all are to the back. All the other party members and other people who are to the back, while they're still being entertained. And in between each entertainer, we have different speakers. Ron Dillon is speaking to something, Reverend Earl Neal is speaking, etc., blah, 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 and so on. Now, what happens here is all these people we brought to the back, we have 10,000 chickens at 32 degrees in the cellophane bags, right? And they're walking between that 1 foot aisle between that and putting a chicken in every bag. It's a 1 hour operation. Walkie-talkies, everything, communicating. Section 1 is filled, Section 8 is filled, Section 10 is filled, Section 20 is filled, etc. And finally, with walkie-talkie me behind the stage, said the chickens are in the bag. and I say over the walkie-talkie, tell John Lee Hooker this is his last song. And what was he singing? He was saying, I don't want you to be no fool. I mean, it was blasted. He got through with his place and pulled him off the stage. I walked to the stage. Left-hand side was Sister Archie Jones. She had been the Boston, Massachusetts State chapter out there, and she'd been pulled out. Big man Alvin Howard was over here with another microphone. I'm at the center microphone. I said, brothers and sisters, we heard 2.5 months ago that in the mayor's office here in Oakland, California, that the mayor had had a meeting with the district head of the FBI and the chief of police. And the scuttlebutt and friends who get us the information was that they were laughing, saying that we would never be able to put together 10,000 chickens and 10,000 bags to give to any damn body. That we couldn't do it. I said, well, later for the racist pig power structure, brothers and sisters, tonight we have 10,000 full bags of groceries, and that was the cue for that curtain to go straight up. You see them lights up there? Those lights are overhead, and those lights beam down on those chickens. And you have to imagine all those chickens in those cellophane bags, and the stuff glitters. Glitters. It made an audience of 7,000 people silent. That was the hero. We had advertised 10,000 full bags of groceries. And some sisters said, damn! I ain't never seen so many groceries in all my life. And I said, right. And they started to clap. And they gave an applause and they stood up. So
Brothers and sisters, please sit down. Thank you. This is now, I'm going to leave this center microphone. And you will see monitors who are coming down the aisles. They're coming down the aisles. They're wearing color-coded armbands. You are all sitting in color-coded sections. And you have to follow your monitors. And you have to follow the line to lead you to the section where you get your groceries. And that is what you have to do. No running, no pushing, etc. It can be done very easily. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. In 45 minutes from that point, all the people had their groceries out in their cars and are walking home. Getting those groceries home in the next hour or so with that 32-degree chicken. You can't let that chicken spoil. If the chicken spoil, the whole program spoils. See that? Organizing, paying attention to all the fine chickens in the record. That's what we did. We registered 4,600 some odd people to vote that day. We went and pulled that off again months later. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. That's what it was about. That's what it was about. This is what my strategy was. The programs and voter registration, we can unify the people. If we unify the people, with their votes, we can vote out the idiots and put in some progressive people. That's what it was about. And you're talking about people's empowerment. Today, your House of Representatives has approximately 90 progressive voting people in the House of Representatives against that block of Republicans and those dumb Tea Party idiots who still control, the committees and getting votes and stuff. And that's what our continuing struggle is about. That's part and parcel of it. Don't play on this. All this stuff, this mid-year election is very, very important. And we got to participate. A lot of times we don't participate until the presidential, but we got to participate in these off-year elections. We need control, really control of that House of Representatives, so we can get some things too. You see what I mean? So we can change things. You know what I mean? So we can give a positive direction, legislation and policies that make human sense. That's what it's about. When I say all power to the people, I mean exactly that. When you go to my website, it says Bobby Seale. I say this is Bobby Seale's site. Well, but I talk about constitutional, democratic, civil human rights. I talk about a need to evolve a greater people's cooperational humanism, economically, ecologically, politically, social justice-wise, etc. That's what this is about. This world, we're 6 billion living human beings, 7 billion living human beings right now, living on the face of this earth. Us, humanity, Homo sapiens. We all are part and parcel of what I like to call this continuing human liberation struggle. The human liberation struggle is about the greater empowerment of the people. The Affordable Health Care Act is one act that connects with the idea of greater empowerment of the people to get cheaper health care and have access to it. You know what I mean? Et cetera, and so on. There's 101 and 1,001 things, legislation and policy-wise, that we got to see that gets changed in the world. And that's where it's at. And I love to say it, power to the people. All power to all the people. Not the avaricious corporate money rich. It's not their power. That's what they've done. They've organized now. You see what they're doing? Their right to even put up money. These some against that's trying to stop me from speaking to speaking at the Tea Party. Trying to stop me from speaking to speaking engagements. You know what I mean? The Koch brothers, one of the Koch, did you know one of the Koch brothers was on the board of directors of PBS? Some of you must have known that. They just under pressure got him to resign. I mean, what are you doing here at PBS, brother? You got Fox News and everything to propagate your shit. You cover more markets than anybody, etc. But not. Then they sent out letters to many colleges and universities trying to get them to curtail progressive speakers like me, progressive people like some of the representatives in the House of Representatives, etc. And then they want to send these letters to the political science departments and economics departments of colleges and universities to teach their programs that they have designed, their economic programs that they have designed. This is the Koch. You have to understand those billions of dollars in the billionaire club and Karl Rove and all these people, they are moving to take over. They want those legislative seats. The same legislative seats I said you have to have, and you have to have representatives that relate to the real constitutional, democratic, civil, human rights. Young students and young people think in everything you do. And I want you to make as much money as you can. But most important, I want you to learn to hitch your wagon. Hitch your wagon to the people's human liberation struggle. Power to the people. Thank you very much.